The United States is a little unpopular in certain parts of the world now. And, we're not perfect. We could do a better job in a lot of different respects. But when I see all these criticisms, when I see all these public opinion polls that these organizations run, one thought keeps occurring to me over and over. And that is that this country has shed more blood for the freedom of other people than all the other countries in the history of the world. I think we need to apologize to the United States of America. We live in the greatest country in the world. That means that we are the most blessed people in the world. And that means we have certain obligations. Number one obligation is to keep it that way. And to make sure that we do everything we can to leave this place a little better than when we came into it. We have a proud tradition, a proud heritage in this country of honor and sacrifice for the greater good. We are proud of that heritage. We must come together with regard to all these things as a united people, committed to the security of this country above all else, committed to doing the things that will have prosperity not only for us, but for our little ones in years to come. We've done this before. We faced challenges in this country many, many times before. And so many of us have faced tremendous challenges before you even came here. We know what it's like. We know what it's about. We know that it has to do with things internal, even more than good policies. And we've taken on these challenges and we've come together and we've dealt with them. There's a pattern to follow. We set the pattern. We come together and realize more unites us than divides us. That we can work and prevail and come out the other end stronger and wiser and better and more united than ever before. My friends, I humbly suggest to you that we need a president who understands America, who understands her people, who understands her greatness and is determined to make sure that that greatness is maintained. My friends, I am that man. Happy to discuss whatever you'd like to discuss.
What do you think about Venezuela, Cuba, and Bolivia?
The problem requires unity among freedom-loving people, number one. It requires recognizing reality. One of the things I've talked to you a little bit about when I think about Castro and when I think about Cuba and the necessity to keep the pressure on there. I think we could do more in terms of communicating inside, in terms of radio and TV, and making sure we keep and maintain good contact with the people who are still inside there. I think we need to do more in terms of making sure the rest of the world is caught up to date and understands what's going on in there, so they'll help us keep the pressure on. And they don't take the word of these celebrities who are set down there and they're wined and dined and they come back and get all the publicity. That's the thing we need to do there. I think as far as these other countries are concerned, we've got to be mindful of what's happening. You know, we need to make sure that we have an alliance in this hemisphere among all freedom-loving people in terms of political alliances and in terms of economic alliances. We need to do more in terms of our trade policies. Democrats are now holding up some bilateral trade agreements with countries that we ought to be trading with more because they're held hostage to a national union here in this country instead of what's good for not only our country but good for the countries in our hemisphere. So we need to do more as far as that is concerned. Chavez is Chavez. We know what that deal is. One of the things we've got to do is double down in terms of energy independence. You know, this country now is importing more than 60% of its oil, and the direction's going the wrong direction in terms of the amount of that. And so much of that comes from places in the world that are problematic, to say the least. And Chavez is a part of that picture. I don't like being dependent in any way upon a character like that. And that's one of the things that we've got to be mindful. That's a long road. We've got to do a lot of things better before we ever even come close to energy independence. But we can do better, and we can do better in terms of the places in the world that we're dependent upon. And Venezuela should not be one of them.
How will you handle the health care crisis?
I think we need to recognize, number one, that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's right.
We've got the best health care in the world.
That's right.
I mentioned it a while ago. One of the things that's happening in this country is that through drugs, prescription drugs, and through the care that we're getting, we're living longer. Not just living longer, we're living healthier, more vibrant lives, further and further as the years go on. And we're going to improve. We're not standing still on that. We're doing remarkable things now in cancer research and making progress in so many different areas. I keep up pretty closely with that stuff. So does my mama. And so you know, we've got 40-some odd million people who are uninsured. Some of them choose to be that way. Most of them don't. But let's face the facts. Healthcare costs more than it should. We've got a big bureaucracy in our private healthcare system. We've got a big bureaucracy in our public healthcare system. Somebody has to look out for costs. They can be the government, or it can be some third-party payer, insurance company, to tell you what you can and cannot have and when you can have it. The government, of course, will bring us the lives that we see in Canada and England and places like that, where even for radiation treatment, things that oftentimes you have to wait for months, you know, to get it. They're actually moving more toward our system, as some of our people seem to want to move more toward their system, ironically enough. So it can be the government, be a third party, or it can be the American citizen, him or herself, who can regulate those costs. I prefer the American citizen having more independence and more choice with regard to their own insurance. That's not necessarily tied to their employment, the way so much of it is today. That with assistance through our tax code, can have the choice to buy their own health care from a pool that is competitive from anywhere in the country, health care that you can take with you if you change jobs, that is portable. There is no surefire cure that's going to give everybody everything the way that we want it all the time. Our government is not going to do that. And we've seen, you know, when we depend on these big companies a lot of times for our pension plans and so forth, they go just like that sometimes. We've got to, as we go along, as the future generations come along, we've got to help people do more for themselves and exercise their own judgment and see what's cost effective. What does their particular family need? Is it a catastrophic plan? Are you pretty healthy? You willing to pay a certain amount out of pocket